Well, I don't know how to start this. I know we've been getting. I had some questions this week from some people with their dogs. They called me, and they were people who watched the podcast, James in Florida, and I just want to make sure everybody understands if you're having your trouble with your dog, my phone line's always open, so I'm always there to call. You can give me a call. It'd be best if you put your questions into our deal on these podcasts so we could answer them for everybody to hear. But I thought we're going to do a podcast in the next few weeks on the most frequently asked questions, because there's a lot of people having the same problem. But I thought I'd do a little preview of it. Tonight I was going to answer one. In the last 2 weeks, we've had the most frequently asked question has been, where is Scott? What happened to Sinclair? So I was going to, go into that right now. And actually, he's back. He's back.
Hello.
What up, Sinclair?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Better. And of course, y'all all heard our audio glitches last week. So you'll also be glad to know Carol Ann's back behind the camera. Thanks for Agent Butters stepping in there, doing what she could while I flubbed the dub on the microphones. We got them on. We're on. We're good. Okay.
Hope so.
So.
Yep, we're on.
Scott's been up in Maine visiting family, right?
Yep, been visiting up there and had a few extra days.
Got a few extra days.
Yeah,
What?
My air carrier left me there stranded for 5 days, so I couldn't get out. So I finally got out yesterday, so.
It wasn't by choice.
Not by choice, which wasn't a bad deal.
Yeah.
It was nice up there, so.
Yeah. If you're gonna get stuck off a flight, you better do it on vacation. That's great.
And I come back to this beautiful weather we have here.
You get hot up there?
It got 93
93. Y'all had a heat wave.
for 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah, when I was there, it was averaging about 80, 75 at night in the 60s, and when we left, it was 6, 7 degrees and overcast. So I had a jacket on. Yeah.
God.
It was 106 yesterday over here.
Yeah. It's 105 right now. Dew point 78.
I'm glad I knew what to expect coming back, but I pity them people that come out here and stay in airports all day, then walk out of DFW and walk into that oven. But hey, it's summertime. It's summertime, so.
Tell them how the Mainers think it's hot.
Yeah, they're.
At
Well,
80.
yeah, well, when you're not used to it.
Yeah.
80's hot.
80s, yeah, if you're not used to it, 80.
I was at one of my relatives' house, and they're all hiding in the shade, and I'm sitting in the sun. So you're all sweating, and you're not hot. I'm like, nah, it's good. Feels good.
What was it?
80.
80.
75, but the sun was beating on me.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
But interesting up there. Where the dogs are up there also. It's,
Tell them about the dog we saw every day.
yeah, I drive by. People have this uncanny, how people with owls, those plastic owls out,
Oh, yeah.
scarecrows, and Mount Clausone is by the lake, keep them off the boats. Well, I drove by this place and saw a shepherd sitting there by the shed, I passed by 3 days in a row and the dog hadn't moved. That dog was a hell of a mistake. Well, he's made of plastic. And it's made of
Plastic?
It's made of plastic. It's like a yard ornament.
It's a yard ornament.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 of them out there. People don't have dogs. There's dogs, but there's no training facilities, and just people have different mentality, I guess. There's some boarding trains, and there's some, in Canada, there's some training, but there's no protection work. It's basically basic obedience. But you don't see dogs in stores or anywhere. So it's a little different up there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they have all the good puppy dogs, and they take good care of them. But the plastic ones are easy. You just got to shellac them every spring, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it's glad to be back. It's good to be back. And anyway,
We'll talk dogs.
let's talk some dogs.
Let's talk some dogs. So
Yeah.
we got, while Scott, I got to do some researching, because Scott usually does our research, and I had to go do some researching, which was good, because I learned some things. But One thing I did see is that there's a lot of interest in the silent whistles, which is very underappreciated or underused in this country. And before we go any further, let me be clear. I always talk about my Acme 535. I get nothing from the Acme company. I'm not contracted, never worked for them, never sold for them. They haven't called me and said, talk about us. We have zero connection with that. Or in fact, so y'all understand, any product, any tool that I mentioned on this channel, I don't do any advertising for anybody. If I talk about a particular product, it's because it's worked the best for me, and I want people to know it works well. So get that out of the way. So
you know,
You want to hold that up again, Butch, and I'll zoom in on your whistle really quick?
if you notice, we don't sit here and promote any kind of tools at all.
no.
So,
No.
but the ones we do promote are the ones that, like he's saying, we use and are effective for what we do out here, and
Right.
probably effective for you too,
Right.
if used properly.
If used properly, and that's what I feel like that's Scott and our job, is to pass on what we've experienced, what we've done, and make sure everybody's got it. Because as he always says at the end of the podcast, it's all about the dogs. We're here. We have fun with what we're doing, and we just want everyone else to enjoy their dogs as much as we enjoy ours. So that said, we're going to discuss and go into a few little silent whistle hacks, some things. And this one, the ones you'll buy normally are going to be a silver looking. They're stainless steel. This is a bronze. The Acme company actually makes these in all sorts of different metals.
Is there a different tone, or is there any specific reason?
All tones are exactly the same.
Okay.
And that's a great question. And they have to be, because that's how the dog identifies the command. Example. So we can, if I go to here, I'm going to go all the way to this extreme. I don't know what that's going to sound like with my microphone. I hope I don't hurt nobody's ears. But that's one extreme. And then if I roll back up, this is the tone that for my dogs means heel. Now we're getting to that silent range. You say you can barely hear it. And I know you don't even hear that one, but a dog can still hear that a quarter of a mile away.
I've had some people tell me, use that, and like, I can hear that. It's not a silent whistle. I said, yes, it is a silent whistle. They're thinking in their mind that there's no, now there are, I'm standing across over there in that lowest tone, and I can't hear it.
Right.
It's
That's it.
silent, but the perception that they're silent is in every tone is silent. It's impossible.
You can't do that.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah. So that there is, every different tone can be a different sound. Now, here's some things that you can do with a silent whistle. And I forget the number of rings and tones there are, 2, 4, 6. I think mine's hung up here. I think there's 10 rings. Every ring has a slightly different decibel level. That means every different ring can be a different command. So you got 10 commands you can do right there.
plus multiple sounds, can't you? Toot, 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 toot. So you can. It's endless.
Wow.
It's endless,
Yeah.
right?
You can,
Isn't it?
yeah, you can actually.
So it's not limited to 10 commands.
No, it's actually, so example, what Scott's saying, if I want my dog to down, I do this on the same ring that I use to call them to front, which is just a solid blast. And then, if I want them to heel, for instance, I can do one short and then one long. So like he said, you can vary, you can do every command you need to finish a USPCA, AKC, United Agility Clubs of America, UKC certifications. Every one of all the commands for all those certifications with this one whistle, if you use it. Now, we're talking about little hacks, things you can do. One of the things I've used it for there's a popular belief is that this is a no bark tool. you can use it as a no bark tool. If your dog's fence fighting out in the backyard or barking, you can blow this tool and it'll make them shut up. Not so. What it does do though is because it's to a dog, it's very, very loud. So if they're all barking and carrying on, you can holler like, and I don't have a real strong voice. That's why I always have to drink this cough medicine when I'm talking a lot. See, so prescription. So this tone, because it can be heard so far away, gets their attention, and because it's a unique sound, they hear us talking all the time. Scott knows with his dogs, I think he's experienced over the last couple of a lot of dogs, if he's consistent with his voice tone, if you do raise your voice, it's a little more effective.
It depends. But the command, to me, that right there is always the same. So it's easier to teach if you, once you get them started on it, and it's easier for them to realize what it is. They can't. I can say come here or come here. I hear come here, but you know, you gotta keep it. It's more steady, I think.
Yep.
Because
And
even the different tones we make changes the command, doesn't it?
thank you very much. Yep. Because the way dogs communicate audio-wise, when you go from here, doggy, to gotcha, here, doggy, it's that here is a whole different, totally different command than the one on the normal, which is why your dogs don't. One reason your dog's not coming to you when you call. Okay, so this is consistent. Now it won't. It'll stop a dog from barking for a brief period,
Need attention. Yeah.
which gives you a chance to call him. But if you blow it, he shuts up and looks at you, and you don't do anything else, he's going to go back to barking. Okay? But
So
it can be
so
used for that.
what you're saying is the sound plus the body language equals success, and might bring him in, or
Good way to put it, yes.
say a
Yes.
front or a,
Right, exactly. When a dog's looking at you, remember, if he's looking at you when you give the command, he always follows it. So like Scott said, we use a lot of body language because posture, dogs understand posture better than, here, I don't know, did I ever talk about the hand signal test they did in that study in Italy, Carol Ann,
No,
with the Newfoundlands?
no.
Okay, so here's how important body language can be. This is a study, I forget when it was done, but quite a while back. But they took a group of water rescue Newfoundlands. These are dogs in a rescue club, like we have search and rescue clubs here. This was on a coast.
yep.
And they used Newfies, which is their original job, to go out and save potentially, possibly drowning victims, right? And because they're working out in the ocean a ways, and they've got the surf and the noise of the surf, all of these Newfoundlands are trained with hand signals right along with voice commands, okay? So this project that, I think it was the University of Naples, was going through was what do dogs respond to the best? What's the best way? How do they communicate with us? How are they exceptional from all other animals, able to read humans and get along with us so well? So they run 3 or 4 different tests. I'll just do the one. They had, I think, about a dozen dogs from this club. And one of the experiments that they tried was they had the owners do opposing commands. For instance, here, and then they'd hold up a command for the dog to down or stay. Okay, so it's come, but the hand signal for stay. The dogs responded consistently, and I forget how many commands they used, but 7 times out of 10, the dogs responded to the hand signal and ignored the voice command. And they did several other experiments, and they all came out with the same results. So body language is important. If you can get your dog's attention to look at you with this whistle, which he will every time, you can then use your hand signal because he's a long way off. you're going to yell. You're going to change. Your voice tone is going to change if you're yelling. You can use whatever hand signal you've got to bring your dog to you much clearer.
And to me, training them, I prefer the hand, the whistle, then the voice.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm backwards, but I like
it
the hand.
works.
Man.
That's all it counts.
Silent. I was doing everything, no vocabulary at all hand signals,
All hand signals. Yeah.
and whistle, or vice versa. I see my hands more. To me, it's more efficient for one, and two, it's just steady. There's nothing changing.
Consistent,
Your hand
right.
doesn't make any noise when you use it.
Not that finger.
Look at this.
So you can use it to get your dog's attention from a distance. That's one use of this whistle with their barking. All right. Another one, a lot of people. This is one that I discovered by accident because in my guard dog company, I ended up with a deaf guard dog. Didn't know she was deaf, but it's when I dabbled briefly at raising Argentine doggos, and I kept one of my pups. And like all white breeds, they have a problem with being deaf. And I had this one little female. I'm sorry. This is how we discovered she was deaf. My driver went to pick her up at the site she's at, and she's just a little young dog, and not a place where I wanted a big badass. It was in a res. Anyway, she was sleeping, snoring, baby. She was out of it. And he hollered at her a couple times, and she didn't respond. And she's freaking deaf. How could she respond? So he goes up. I know Scott's heard the old folks saying, never let sleeping dogs lie. This is why, folks. Because if you reach down and go, hey, get up, and you startle them, you know what a dog does? Turn me loose.
Yep.
So anyway, that's how we discovered she was deaf, and then trying to figure out all sorts of ways to, and I do have a whole program for deaf dogs if anyone's got that problem and you want to know how to teach them all their obedience commands and everything using hand signals. I'll be glad to give me a call. I'll be glad to go through it for you. But that's when we started using this, and what I discovered was there were a couple of levels, and it's what we consider the quietest ones. Like this number 2 ring, she would respond to that.
Vibration, maybe?
I'm guessing. And then later I've seen where with some of the tests and studies they've done on dogs, there are decibel levels that we can't hear at all.
Mm-hmm.
The dogs still hear. So there's a possible use for this whistle if you have a dog who's hearing impaired. Okay, so the last one I'll give you on the impaired part is this is one that there's a lot of people using their e-collars, and they're out, especially I had a gentleman bring a really nice white shepherd, and that's not usually 2 words you say in the same sentence. Boss came out here for training, and they're out, they've got acreage, and Boss runs out there and has a whole place to run and play. He's got him on an e-collar to guarantee, for security, make sure he comes back. Well, he's wanting something. He says, all I use is the buzzer. And he said, I zapped him once. He got it. Now when he hears that tone that it makes, boy, he's coming back to me. But there's times they open the front door and he gets out. And, there's times when he's not wearing an e-collar. And he's really wanted, the reason he brought him here for training, is to get him as efficient on the voice command as he is with that e-collar. Because the battery can go dead. Like you said, a lot of things can happen with an e-collar that'll disrupt your life. Better the dog is trained to his voice. So I'd never thought about doing this before. But what we did was, since he's out in acreage and wide open spaces, I told him to pair the whistle tone with the tone on the collar. So, in other words, when he's out there at a distance, give his recall command and hit the tone, and as soon as he hits the tone, blow the whistle. Now the dog knows what it means, he's coming, and when he hears that tone, he hurries up. And when he hears that whistle, one long blast. It's all about conditioned response, folks.
Mm-hmm.
All training is just condition response. You practice, 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 and you're going to get to where a dog cannot help it. They will always respond in that manner. So after, X number of times, hearing this whistle, at the same time he hears that tone, this whistle will be as powerful to that dog as the tone of that collar.
And that's how we would do with sit commands and heels and downs and guards.
Yep,
You introduce the whistle to it,
yep.
and it don't happen overnight.
No, no.
But after a while, you don't have to use the voice commands anymore. Just the tones,
Right.
like you said,
Condition response.
condition response. Yep.
So that's three things you can do with this whistle you can't do with any other tool that there is in the dog world. So there's other advantages, disadvantages. I won't bend everybody's ear about that, but that we got, just so everybody knows, we got black bark puppies.
Yes, we do.
Yes, and they are, one litter is 4 days old, I believe. So we're taking applications right now.
Good looking dogs.
If you're looking for an ultimate, the ultimate security dog that you can take to the Girl Scout meeting or the Sigma Pi fraternity dance, sorority dance,
Take them to church if you want to.
take them to church. They'll sit there in the pew and they'll probably help the preacher with some prayers.
You might get it if you help the choir, but that's okay. Because some of them folks sound like them dogs do anyway. They're crooning away.
There you go. There you go. And if Godzilla knocks on your door, you can take his kneecaps out at the same time. So
Yep.
we will have. If you're interested, give me a call. You get our phone number off the website. We'll be taking the applications starting yesterday, I guess, and pups will be ready in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. And all our pups come with obedience training, so you will. It's all included. This is one breeding I've been looking forward to for a long time. So these will be some good dogs. But once you get the puppy, how do you make sure that you raise the shepherd, the Western Shepherd, that turns out to be the dog Rin Tin Tin only hoped he could be? What do you think, Scott? What would you say? What would you do? What would you emphasize for training puppies, raising puppies?
Well, for me, what I would do, I would first of all get the dog and bring the puppy class here.
Get the training, yep.
Need the training.
Doesn't cost you nothing.
It costs
Free.
you nothing, yeah. That's what I would do. I ain't giving up my secrets.
And
Yep.
then when you
After
done
he gets his,
train,
I could put him in a cart for a while and take him to the store and socialize him. Then once he gets before he hits the ground, I gotta have both sets of shots before he touches the ground, in my opinion.
right.
And the biggest thing, socialization, is one of the biggest factors ever. You get them started young. It's inbred in them. And they learn a lot faster. The first 16 weeks they were sponges, right?
Right.
So you get him out there and get as much as you can with him. That makes a big difference.
Oh, huge.
Start a little obedience.
I'd go so far to say that socialization is the number one most important thing you can do for your dog. And I know there's people who do protection dogs that think they don't want their dog, they don't want other people touching their dog. They want to keep their dog just to protect me, right?
And how the hell dogs don't know? Dogs got to be socialized to feel other people, to see different things, to get used to surroundings, all different surroundings. But when he gets used to that, he knows what it's supposed to look like. He knows what the backyard looks like, right? Someone climbs over the fence, what's going to happen if somebody climbs over the fence?
Right.
Now, if you're in a store or something else, something gets disrupted out, or something's coming at you, or something happens, it's out of place. So they need to be socialized. They need to have different. Can I pet your dog? Yes. Really? That's not a good idea. Why not? Dogs need to be social. You can feel you. They'll know. And I always say, can I pet your dog? And I'll always say, it's up to the dog. What do you mean? I said, it's up to him if he wants you to pet him or not. It's the dog's choice.
Oh, yeah.
And that may sound like ridiculous to some people, but that to me, the dog's is his choice. Because if you don't want to pet him, you can pet him. Leave him alone.
Right.
And one day, I know some people I know been going to this one place every day almost for 2 years, year and a half with it. My newest one, and it's the same people that work there. And some days he wants to get pet, and some days he don't.
Want to be left alone.
Yep.
Dang right.
It's crazy, but
Yeah.
he knows, it's nothing to do with him, but he's socialized, and that also helps me to read him and read the situation or what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
But that's
And for those of you that, if you're not socializing, think about this. You don't fight what you're afraid of. And remember, in defense, you have two choices, fight or flight. Anytime your dog's in a situation where he has to defend you or your property, he is going to be in defense mode, period. And he can always choose the flight over the fight.
Yep.
And if he's afraid of the adversary, he's going to choose the flight. Now, what makes them choose it? What makes them afraid?
Survival. Go ahead.
The biggest cause and reason for fear, the thing that most motivates or puts everyone in defense drive, humans and dogs, is the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. Absolutely.
Nothing scares you more.
Yep.
So if you've never seen a person 6'2", and it's a 6'2" person who decides to break into your yard, that dog's liable to look up and go, "Damn, he can fall on me," So socialization has more benefits than you can think of.
I would say 65% of the dogs that come out here, and these problems people have with their dogs, is all related. It's all socialization. All of it. All of it. I mean, it can be fixed, but you save all that trouble, all that time and whatnot. If you just, and I understand some people can't do it, and some people have jobs, and some people have, there's a lot of options. It's not that they don't want to; some people just can't,
Right.
But
Then don't get a dog.
then, well, I mean,
Expect your dog to be a certain way if you don't do what you need with your dog, because you're going to get the dog you deserve.
There you go.
There you go.
And that's a guarantee.
but
If you, all right, and now to Scott's thing about petting your dog, and some people think that's weird. Dogs are just like us. They don't, they have good days, they have bad days. Now, I know I had an incident one time where I thought, this could, because I had a state license. They watched me real close. If I get a parking ticket, I'd get a call from the state of Texas saying, what are you doing? So it's kind of like being a cop. And I was at a city park in El Paso one time. And so, some people are. Some people, dogs love me. Can I pet your dog?
yeah,
And I'll show you how to fix that in just a minute. I'll tell you to fix that real quick. You can tell them whatever. Oh no, they really do. They just love me. They just love me. I can't. So this guy comes up and he goes, "Does your dog bite?" And I go, "No, hell no, he don't bite." And he reaches down, and the dog's laying over here, and he reaches down to pet him, and the dog reaches up and bites a snot out of his hand. The guy jerks his hand back, and he looked at me and he said, "Thought you said your dog doesn't bite." I said, "My dog don't. I don't know whose dog that is right there." Things happen. So,
but I'm not retracting my statement. I always ask, he lets you,
yes,
but the dog's under my supervision, and I know, people coming at him, I can tell how he feels,
right.
But for the most part, I just want to be more open. But there is times to take him out where there is no petting. I put the vest on him, do not pet, we're working. If we're training in the stores, it's a whole different, but overall, just, I want to be able to take my dog in public.
There's the other thing. If you're going to have a personal protection dog, and don't get me wrong, the guard dogs who stay in their territory, farm dogs in the country, they're never going anywhere. They don't see anybody else because they ain't hardly nobody coming around. That's great. They're going to grow up defending their property no matter what if they're that type of breed. So there is no absolute constant in anything with dogs. Any rule you come across, I don't care who the greatest trainer in the world is telling you, there's an exception. You need to take that into consideration and apply your training needs to your dog that fits your lifestyle. Simple as that. You got
Yep.
to do what works for you.
Because not everybody's got a protection dog. People have just regular run-of-the-mill dogs.
Right.
And so
Right.
obedient dog, and they still got to be socialized. Every dog should be socialized,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
except junkyard dogs, because they don't need to be socialized.
Say what?
Junkyard dogs.
junkyard. Right. Right. You get.
But you know, that's so. We could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, we could. We
Yeah.
could. Just remember, if you got a puppy and you're raising him, and I got a Connie Corso in here right now. I guarantee you, this is what the man told me when I take him for walks around the neighborhood. I took him out when I first got him. We went to the stores a couple times, but then I just take him for walks in the neighborhood. It was 4 days before we could get in there and feed this dog because he was so scared because all he'd ever seen was, 150 yards around his block. And whoever happened to be out at the same time they were out. And he's in a strange place with strange people, got weird sombreros on their head and everything else. He's scared and he's dangerous. And this guy, I showed a video, I sent him a video. We were just out here in the yard. The handyman who works for us, Bubba, he come walking up. This dog took one look at Bubba, ran to the back of the fence. Bubba's kind of weird looking, I'll grant you that. but he wasn't that weird looking. So that's that's a dog who's never been around other people. So anyway,
Yep. I
I'm
agree.
jawing on that.
No, it's true though. It's a big deal.
Yeah. So
Make your life a lot easier if all your dogs can be socialized, wouldn't it?
yeah,
You just got to train them obedience and protection work.
and teach them and just teach them. Now we got to regrow the dog
Yeah.
because literally that's what's happened. They didn't mature right.
Yeah.
And I guess at that, we got whistles, we got puppies. That's what we was talking about.
Don't
You got
forget-
anything else?
Don't forget, look at are the puppies on the website to look at and everything?
Oh, no, we'll get some pictures up on our website at the end of the week, but you can go to Western Shepherd Family and Friends and see all sorts of pictures.
They're on there.
That's a Facebook page, Western Shepherd Family and Friends.
Western Shepherd Family and Friends.
And I'll try and put some over on my page. And
Yep.
I think it's safe to say these are exceptional kind of dogs that
Mm-hmm.
you might enjoy.
Yeah, you would. I would say so.
Well,
With
thanks,
that being
Scott.
said, I'm glad to be back in the great state of Tejas, Texas. And going to get back over here and get it going again. And
Yep.
just remember, folks, we're training Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go earlier,
Security dog training.
9-ish.
It started at 9, yeah. We'll start at
9
9
o'clock.
o'clock. You want to come out and watch?
or bring your dogs out. Give them a run. But like with the whistles and socializing your dogs, it's all about the dogs, people. So let's get it together and keep up the good work.
See you next week,
See ya.
folks.